the game for Roy Halladay.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Phaithful Phanatics podcast. I'm your host, Dylan Davis, joined by my guys, Matt McGinty, George Ryder, Matt Szymanski. On today's show, we're going to be discussing the Eagles' atrocity on Sunday afternoon against the Cleveland Browns, a preview of the Seattle Seahawks-Eagles Monday night game, a possibility of a quarterback change, and then we're going to get into a little bit more of a positive note in the Philadelphia 76ers and all the moves and draft moves they made in this week. So with that being said, boys, it's not a victory Friday now. Sorry, I had to delay the show. But we haven't had a victory show in quite some time, it feels like. So how are we doing?
I hope we have another one. I really don't.
George, how we feeling, buddy?
I mean, not good. If we're talking about the Eagles specifically, not good. But if you want to move the conversation to the Sixers, and yeah, we might get a little more happy.
Yeah, the season's really unbalanced. All right, so let's dive right into the Eagles versus the Browns. The Eagles fall to the Cleveland Browns on Sunday afternoon in a monsoon, it seemed like. Carson Wentz was 21 of 35 for 235 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions yet again. So, guys, let's just discuss his play. That's really it. We know they suck. We know all from top to bottom, management, play calling, players, all 3 phases of the game. They're a bad football team. But what it really boils down to is the play calling of the head coach and the play of your franchise quarterback. So let's start with Carson Wentz. Ginn, I'll throw it to you first. How was number 11 on Sunday afternoon, in your opinion? Like, I know in a lot of people's eyes he carries most, if not all, of the blame. What did you feel from 11 on Sunday?
Yeah, he definitely wasn't good enough, and you saw that, obviously. The pick six, I still don't believe he should hold all the blame for that. They say he missed Rager, but like a lot of people broke that down and said like that's not as easy as a throw as you think it was. And the dude came untouched into his backfield. Richard Rodgers kind of just stared at him, and it resulted in a pick six. Don't get me wrong. Again, I'm not defending him. He wasn't good enough again. But like you said, I feel like a lot of blame is being put on him that shouldn't be put on him, which is at this point an every week thing. But if I had to grade it, I'd give him a C- probably.
I like that. Kind of where I'm at. Snap.
What do you want me to say, dude?
Here's what I'll throw to you. What would you grade the performance of number 11 on Sunday?
Number 11 was like a D. Like, I get it. Like, that pick six in the beginning of the game was like bad, and it may not have been totally his fault, but like, did you really need to put all that air on the ball for a fucking pass to your running back right there? Like, you threw it like fucking 30 feet in the air.
I don't think he was intending to.
Yeah, hit from
I think he was coming, and as he got hit, because he got hit from behind, the ball kind of skyrocketed.
There goes him holding on to the ball again. Like, either way you look at it, you can find a reason why it was just not a smart, like, everything. He's just regressing every week, and at this point, like, when I was first watching the game, like I told you guys, I only watched like the first and a little bit of the second because I had to go do some shit. Then I started listening on the radio, and like I heard where they were at, and I wasn't even shocked. And it was just kind of like, all right, dude, like whether it's the coaching staff, whether it's the personnel, whether it's the offensive line, whether it's this, that, and the third, whatever's going on, the quarterback is regressing. He's leading the league in interceptions. It is just not looking good. If there was, I know a lot of people don't like hearing this. If there was a week to throw in Hurts, it was this week. I get the controversy. You don't want the controversy. So even if you want to stay away from that, I get that. But like, I'm just getting to the point, man, where it's like I'm all out on this team. Like, the fact that the Redskins won last night and took the division lead and we jumped to 8 in the draft was like probably the best news I've heard about the Eagles all year. And that's where I'm at.
George, how would you grade the performance of Carson Wentz?
I would give him a D+, and I don't think, like, some positives, I don't think he missed a lot of open guys, like, I don't, like, at all. I think he held onto the ball a little too long. I think that safety was absolutely atrocious. Like, that's just a rookie mistake right there. You don't hold onto the ball that long. You know to throw it away at that point. I do think the pick six wasn't really as much of his fault as people are saying. I think him getting hit from behind really doesn't help, but he didn't get the job done. And he, that garbage time touchdown at the end makes it look a little better, but it wasn't. The 2 turnovers were just awful. He's got to be better, and like we say this every single week, but he has to be better. It's getting to a point where I hate to say it, but I wouldn't mind seeing Jalen Hurts right now, only because I want to see how big of a problem the quarterback position actually is. Like, how big of it? Like, is it actually on Carson? Is it actually on everybody around him? Like, I have no answers for what's going on right now. Like, it's very frustrating. It's every single week we go into it, and it's just like, it sucks. Like, watching it sucks. The emotions are different now. It's like you see that safety, and like we used to probably flip the fuck out, and we see that Baker fumble that wasn't called a fumble, and we would flip the fuck out. And now it's just like, all right, like then whatever. Like, this just fucking sucks. Like, everything right now is just absolutely terrible. Like, it's just not fun to watch, and I hate everything about all this. Everything, because every single week it's about Carson Wentz. When this whole team fucking sucks. Like, it from top to bottom. So yeah, D+.
We're in for an interesting show. But my guy Dives over here, he said, but I was told the Eagles are a quarterback factory.
Yeah,
One of the worst with the new norm. He also said if Doug Peterson was a Thanksgiving dish,
easy cranberry sauce.
Yeah, cranberry sauce. Yeah. Read my mind.
Like, the only thing he can be.
Okay.
Out the can too. Like,
who the hell knows?
Right.
Great value brand.
You know what he is? If you guys are on Twitter a lot, he's that tweet of the lady saying, "Oh, I dropped the lasagna and it was like spaghetti with peas and carrots. Like, it's not even lasagna." That's what he fucking is.
And then Mark Bernstein says, "How badly do you feel both Doug and Carson miss Frank Reich?" That is a great point.
I feel like Doug doesn't miss him. Because he would be man enough to admit he needs an offensive coordinator.
Doug definitely misses him only because it makes him look.
Doug doesn't miss him in terms of how, like, that Doug wants it back, but Doug deeply misses him in that he needs his ass to be an effective head coach in the NFL.
I guarantee you, Carson wish he could get on a fucking bus right now and go to Indianapolis. I'll tell you that.
Yeah. All right. So let me
one wish in the world, it would be to be at Colt right now. I'll tell you that.
I'm out on the birds. No time for such crap. Mark, I'm with you. Except, I have a sickness as an Eagles fan, and I can't keep myself.
And I think they're going to win this week against.
Yeah, I can't keep myself from watching the flop they're going to put out.
If they win this week, I swear to God, I'll be out even more. I'll be out even more if they win this week. I won't be drawn in. You won't do it to me. You won't do it to me.
I'm going to get a train rolling.
Fuck us out. If they fuck us out of a top 10 draft pick because they want to go ahead and win like 3 random games the rest of the season, I'm going to be pissed off.
If we make the playoffs,
it should not be in the playoffs. Make it happen.
You know what three random games do? Win the division.
Exactly. I don't want that. It's different if you're 8-8 and look decent. This team is garbage. I'd rather a top 10 pick than a first round bounce for no reason.
Okay. So here's where I'm at. And believe it or not, I actually had to argue with random people at a bar on Wednesday night about.
You arguing about the Eagles? Who would have thought that?
About this very topic. Well, again, was he good enough? 100% not. And he does deserve blame, and he gets a lot of blame. And I'm not deflecting it. I'm not saying it's not his fault. He needs to be better.
Same story every week.
But when I hear that's fine. That's fine. And I'm going to do the same thing.
This is becoming a weekly cycle.
I'm going to do the same thing do. Yeah, but his play caller dropped him back 41 times in a monsoon. 41 times with that offensive line when Miles Sanders and Boston Scott are chewing up that Cleveland run defense. At one point, it was 102 rushing yards, Eagles, to like 20 rushing yards, Cleveland. The script was completely reversed. No, we never thought that was going to be the case. Miles Sanders had 14 carries for 62 yards in the first half. He got 2 carries in the second half. He told us last week when he was asked a question about rolling Carson Wentz out of the pocket because he's more effective doing that, he was going to do that. He did it one time. Carson Wentz, or did it twice, but the first time was Carson's doing on the first play of the game, a 22-yard completion on the first play of the game. He did it another time, rolled out, 8-yard completion for a first down to Travis Fulgham. That is the only times you saw Carson Wentz get out of the pocket. That is atrocious. So let me break down the 2 interceptions. Look, if you think he held on to the ball too long, we watched a different game because he saw his first read. He didn't want to do it because, as a lot of people say, I know to the blind eye, there's Jalen Reagor wide open. But it's almost like a wheel route. So if he throws that ball, the safety's dipping down. So, yeah, he missed him. He had to throw it back shoulder. He should have done that. Not saying he shouldn't have. But he didn't like the read. And if he would have thrown an interception because he went with that read, everyone would have been freaking out. So what's he do? He turns to his running back to drop it off. Good job, Carson. Use your check down like we always bitch at you to do. Oh, Richard Rodgers doesn't block the blitzing safety. He comes clean, hits him in the back, ball's going the other way. That's interception number 1. So does he get a little bit of blame? Yes, because he should have just thrown it back shoulder to Jalen Reagor. Second interception. I know, Snap, you tweeted me, and you're right. You shouldn't be looking Alshon Jeffrey's way late in the game because he's old. But that's coaching. Alshon Jeffrey shouldn't be on the field at that point, okay? Secondly, Alshon Jeffrey hurts my brain watching that play. Dude, he jumped 9 years too early. I have no idea what he was doing. And everyone, Carson overthrew him. Bro, just watch the game, dude. He jumped 18
Alshon jumped about 2 inches about 5 seconds early.
Yeah. I don't know what he was doing. So those are the interceptions. Then there was another play that is in the back of my mind of it looks like Carson throws the ball 8 feet behind Greg Ward to a diving corner or safety that was sitting in the zone, and he dropped an interception, right? And to the blind eye and to the, the person that just sits there and watches the game, that looks like an awful pass. Well, here's the thing. Carson's got pressure coming right into his face. A good wide receiver knows when there's a zone and you find the soft spot in the zone, you sit down in that soft spot because that's where the ball's going to be. These Eagles wide receivers are coached so robotically. It's like they have to get from point A to point B, and they don't stop. So what does Greg Ward do? Instead of sitting down in the soft zone for probably a 15-yard completion, he keeps running where Carson's delivering the ball in the soft spot of the zone with pressure in his nose. And it looks like it's 8 feet behind him. So, yeah, dude, has he been good enough? No. But when you have wide receivers that can't get any sort of separation, you have an offensive line that can't block. And are some of the sacks on him? 100% he holds on to the ball too long. But why is that? That's because he looks at what's around him and he's trying to play hero ball. And whether it's right or wrong, and we say we don't want him to do it every week, he has to do it. Because if he doesn't try to do it, we have 0% chance of winning. And you saw that against the Giants 2 weeks ago. He didn't play hero ball that week. He didn't try to. He didn't take any unnecessary sacks. He didn't turn the ball over. He didn't do anything like that. And they still lost the game to a bad football team.
I got a question. Do you think he's been the biggest problem this year for the Eagles?
No!
What? He's like number 34.
I've seen it. That's all I've seen on Twitter.
Yes, and that's my point. George, we talk
the biggest problem on the Philadelphia Eagles is coaching staff.
Yes, and that is my thing, and why everyone wants him to be the first domino to fall, and for the quarterback change to be number 1. Hand over the playbook, Doug, because you don't got it anymore. Dude, we prepped for the show on Wednesday before I had to postpone it. My list of complaints for Doug Peterson is 3 pages long, it seems like.
Don't even need to touch it.
No, and I don't think I should have to.
I don't even want you to stress about it no more. I'm like getting worried your hair's going to turn gray every week because you're
I got gray, bro. I got gray.
At the end of the day, we just know. I had one comparison I said before the show. We know what this team is. They're like the 2011 Phillies. This team needs to be broken up and trade all your old vets that have value for assets this offseason. That's what needs to be done. It's done.
I'm still ready for the playoff run. Okay.
If they make the playoffs, I might not watch them.
No, if we can make the playoffs, you're going to make the playoffs. You want a home playoff match?
No.
It's good for the young guys. It's good for Carson Wentz. Yes, it is.
It's not.
Yes,
it's not.
Yes, it is.
Okay,
yes,
what's good for Carson Wentz?
Good experience.
Losing in the first round. Losing in the first round. You know you ain't doing shit. They lost to the Giants, dog. They lost to the Giants.
Good. I know
we're not good. Make any noise. I don't want to watch a playoff game. Say they win the first round. They go into the Super Bowl? No. They gonna win even the NFC? No. So don't make the playoffs. Get a top 10 draft pick because clearly you can't draft at the end of the first round. So let's make it real freaking easy for you guys in management and give you a no-miss top 10 draft pick. Go get a guy that's on good salary for the next 3-4 years that you know is going to be a hit. Right now, most mock drafts have us getting the linebacker Micah Parsons from Penn State, one of the biggest issues on the team. Go get a top 10 draft pick. Start rebuilding a young core around your quarterback who absolutely needs it, and stop worrying and stop thinking that there's this dream that the guys from the Super Bowl team are going to be good enough moving forward to win you another Super Bowl or win you playoff games. It's not. It's almost like a dumb theory. These guys are done. They're washed. Trade what you have for good draft picks moving forward. Rebuild the team. Carson's not old. Carson's not a 35-year-old quarterback you need to make a push for to try to get in the playoffs. He's a young guy. Fix the team.
Micah Parsons.
Let me rebuttal this a little bit. Let me rebuttal this a little bit, but I agree with you to a point. I want them to make the playoffs because to me, when the division's like this, I agree with George. It's good for Carson Wentz. It's good for Jalen Reagor. It's good for Miles Sanders to have that experience, no matter what it is. You're also doing a disservice to your fan base if the division is right here and you just start tanking because
I guarantee you 80% of the fan base does not want to make the playoffs.
No, that's not true. But I agree with you on the point that if they do make the playoffs with 5 or 6 wins, right, somehow, 6 wins, I don't want the winning the NFC East to mask the issues that Jeffrey Lurie needs to take care of this offseason.
But that's what it's going to do.
No, I don't think
I don't know if it is.
I don't think it would.
No, because because Jeffrey Lurie's all in on this coach right now. He's been the last 3 years. I don't know if he is right now, but say they win 7 games this year, somehow they pull off 7 wins. That is just going to mask like, hey, Doug still managed to do it. We got to give him some credit. We don't need an offensive coordinator. He was plagued by injuries this year and stuff didn't work out. And, if everything worked out right, you know what? We're probably a 10-win team. No, that's not the case. This team is getting old. You need to just start putting better players around. Yes, is it a discredit to Wentz and the other young guys to make the playoffs? Yes, but you know what it's a discredit to if you make the playoffs? The actual team moving forward. This isn't about winning 1 or winning 2 Super Bowls. Everyone, when we won the first one, was all about, this is a dynasty now. We want to win championships over the next decade. Do you want to just win 1 and then go through mediocrity like the Sixers used to be back in the early 2000s or the late 2000s when they're just scratching into the playoffs every year? No, I want a team that is built to win at a competitive level every year. And right now they're not. They're not. So just pull the plug. You're going to be the 08 Phillies all over again where you won 1. You had this fantasy that somehow after 4 years passed after winning the World Series, you can still get back there. No. You seen what they did. Now they're in this shitty hole because they didn't move good veteran players that still add value for young talent to open up the cap. We're talking about how we're in this cap debt right now. Why not trade guys with a ton of money on the books? If we don't make the playoffs this year, I would be open to moving a guy like Fletcher Cox if it was a second-round pick involved or a first-round pick involved. I would absolutely do that. Does it decrease your chances of winning next year? Yeah, but guess what you're going to get? You're going to get another shot at getting a good young player who's going to be cheap on the books that can work and move forward with Carson for the rest of his career. These guys were leftovers from the teams prior when Wentz came into the picture. These were guys that came back. Some of them were in the Andy Reid era. We don't need them now. It's football. These guys don't have 15-year careers. They have 8-year careers. And a lot of these guys are coming up on that number where it's Lane Johnson's ankle collapsed. I've never even heard of that injury. Are you kidding me? The dude's ankle collapsed. These are the issues that are going to start happening every year if you don't just pull the plug and grow some balls to just move on for the future. You got to move on for the future. The future is more important than right now and building some confidence up. I don't want to see a 6-win team in the playoffs, home field or not. It's not even a real season right now. Home field doesn't mean anything because what are they going to bump in cheering from sound speakers? What? Is that even home field advantage? No, it's just a neutral playing site. It just doesn't make sense to me to keep this going. It doesn't. feel like Dylan. I'm like ranting really hard about the Birds right now.
I have no faith. This team, yeah, you're right, it needs to be blown up. But it needs to be blown up, like, structurally. Like, Howie Roseman has built, like, the second highest, like, cap team with one of the oldest rosters ever, like, constructed right now.
But that's to my point. So
they keep funneling money into the defensive line. Like, they paid Javon Hargrave all this money to be one of the highest paid nose tackles in all of the NFL. Meanwhile, Robbie Anderson, like, I was told, we need more depth on the defensive line because that's how Jim Schwartz likes to run his defense. Clearly, it doesn't fucking work. Javon Hargrave has hardly produced this year, and Robbie Anderson, who's getting paid way less, is tearing it up in Carolina right now.
Exactly.
I'm sure we could use Robbie Anderson in our wide receiving core right now. Howie Roseman needs to go. Doug Peterson needs to relinquish his play calling duties. And Mark says here, do you think Jeffrey Lurie will take the play calling away from Doug? Will someone say enough is enough? No, because once he does that, like, what are you going to tell your head coach you can't call plays anymore?
That's when it gets petty. Like, that's when it's just going to get petty and the relationships are going to be burned. Like, yeah, you can go and sit down with Doug this offseason and say, I'm hiring an offensive coordinator, like Ginn said before the show. And if you don't like it, you're out. But at that point, you might as well just fire him because it's just going to lead to more bullshit internally. Like, there's going to be that pettiness to it because you're basically having to sit a grown-ass man down and tell him, I'm doing this. If you don't like it, get out. Like, it's almost like immature. Like, just do the right thing and just, yo, Doug, we appreciate you. You got a statue. We love you, man. But you need to get the fuck out of here. Like, you are not that good anymore. Like Frank Wright, it's just so clear that Frank Wright was the reason we won the Super Bowl on the offensive side of the ball. You can't say anything else to me because look at what he's doing in Indianapolis. They don't even have a decent quarter, like the shell of Phillip Rivers, and they are 10 times they're 10 times better than the Eagles.
Yep, I'm with you. Look, this really got out of hand on this Browns review. But like the last thing I'll say about this week before we get to the Seahawks game is news that broke this morning that Jason Peters is finally being put back to right guard. And Mailata is stepping in at left tackle, and obviously we know Lane Johnson is down for the year at right tackle. So, here to go with the Jeffrey Lurie and Howie and Doug Peterson, who's calling the shots. Look, Doug's been very adamant in his pressers that he calls the shots, especially with the quarterback controversy. Like, he has the final say. He's made that very clear. He also said 3 days ago his left tackle going forward is Jason Peters, and now this morning all of a sudden there's a switch. Doug is not pulling the strings like he says he is. Doug is like he has no idea what's going on. He has no feel for the game, in game, out of game, nothing. I'm so over him. So, all right, let's move forward. Go ahead, George.
Yeah, let me throw – did you see him say that they look back on the 17-18 tape and they don't think Carson's issues are mechanical or worrisome at all?
That's all his issues are. They're issues little mechanical.
Like, he comes out every single week with worse comments than the week before. And that's another reason why everyone's –
I'll top one for you. How about was it the Giants game when he said that he felt he was in a rhythm play calling?
Yep.
He was in a rhythm. Not to mention he just throws his players under the bus and his quarterback under the bus.
What type of rhythm is that?
It was after the Giants game, I believe. He came out. They asked him about his play calling after, like, when the offense was so stale, and he said that he felt as though he was in a rhythm play calling. And I was like, really? That's interesting because I don't know what the fuck you went back and watched.
Me and him got a different view of rhythm. That's like drunk, middle-aged white man rhythm. Like, no, that ain't rhythm. Like, stop it.
No. All right, so let's get to the Seahawks game. Monday night, primetime. The Eagles are currently winless in the 1 o'clock slate of games this season, but they are undefeated in the primetime spot. At home, at the Link, on Monday night against the Seattle Seahawks and what was the runaway MVP of the league in Russell Wilson. So, George, I'll throw this to you first. What are the keys offensively for the Eagles to win? I know it's a long shot. I know no one really gives Eagles much of a chance here on Monday night, but what do they have to do offensively to be successful?
I know this is like an easy thing to say, but you got to run the ball more. And
that would be too easy, man. That
Yeah,
would be pretty simple.
I mean, I feel like they rely on Wentz to throw the ball way too much, and we've seen that a lot. I feel like they don't allow Wentz to go outside the pocket enough, which is his strongest strength. Like that's what he likes to do. You got to get Sanders in his rhythm, like you did. You saw that first drive in the Browns game. Everything was going smooth until he fumbled at the 4. But I mean, it was also monsoon. You gotta get Sanders going. That's your workhorse. That's your number one guy, right? So let's get him going. I don't like the 16 rushes for 70 yards when you could have 20 to 20, whatever. Like, we'll see what happens, but I think gotta get Sanders. I think gotta get Sanders going more, and it's going to be tough because I know this Seahawks defense hasn't been great all year, but the last 2 games they've looked a lot better than they have all year. So they are picking it up and they are looking better. This game is so worrisome. I don't know how they're 5-point favorites, but we'll see.
I love when Doug runs the ball down someone's throat on the first possession and then completely abandons it the next drive. But anyway, Gid, what do they have to do offensively to be successful on Monday night?
Yeah, no, I agree with George. Miles Sanders has touched the ball a lot. I think you have to put players in a position to succeed, like put Jalen Reagor into open space. You drafted a guy in the first round that his biggest strength is playing in open space.
No, Doug likes to call those plays off for Greg Ward.
Yeah, I don't understand that at all. Alshon Jeffrey can't be on the field. That's another key. But other than that, I don't see, if I'm being honest, I don't see a way that this goes well on Monday at all. Offensively, we might be able to score 20 points, but I don't see it.
If we only score 30 on this defense, and I know I shouldn't have like any sense of expectation for this team or offense, but if we don't score more than 20, we have a much bigger issue than I thought. Like, yeah, I'm not expecting to win this game, but like, you can't put the ball in the end zone 4 times against this team.
Dude,
I have zero confidence in this game. Like I'm
broke.
I want to hammer the Seahawks. Like,
whatever happened to the faithful Phanatics, George?
dude,
I'm the biggest advocate usually, but this is just shaping up to be one of those games where I went to an Eagles game. It was the Dream Team Part 2, the year we played the Patriots. It was when they had Rob Gronkowski, Aaron Hernandez, and they just had so many. And I remember going to the game. I was like, oh no, we're gonna win. Oh no, we're gonna win. And we just got lit up like a Christmas tree. Like, I just see that all over again this week. I really do. I don't see how we even compete this week.
All right, let's fast forward because we're obviously a little lifeless here on the Eagles. So let's just get to game predictions and final thoughts on the Eagles-Seahawks game. Oh, and then we have a fun conversation we can get into about the quarter. No. Quarterback situation.
I think
Metcalf and some Seahawks players had some choice words whether or not Jalen Hurts should be starting on Monday night for the Philadelphia Eagles. So here's where I'm at. Do I expect the Eagles to win? Not at all. Will I be surprised if it's a blowout? Not at all. But this Eagles team, for whatever reason, plays down to their competition and they play up to their competition. Now that's coaching. I know that. But and this Seahawks defense is bad, man. So I honestly think it's closer than a lot of people think. I think it's one of those, either we're down by 5 or 6, Carson gets the ball and can't do it, or we're down by 4, Seattle scores another touchdown and they win by 11 late in the fourth quarter. Like, I think it's a lot closer than it is, simply because the Eagles offense can move the ball on Monday night because the Seahawks defense is really bad. I don't expect the Eagles to have the game plan for Russell Wilson. If they can't stop Daniel Jones out of the pocket, I don't see any way they stop number 3 out of the pocket on Monday night. You could throw Darius Slay on DK Metcalf. You could throw Darius Slay on Tyler Lockett. Whatever one you don't have Darius Slay on, that opposing corner is going to get tortured on Monday night. So do I expect the Eagles defense to show up? Nope. I do expect number 11 to show up on Sunday night, though, because there's a lot of talk on this long week, on this 8-day break, or whether or not he should be the quarterback. After his head coach came out in a press conference and stuttered and was hesitant to name him the starting quarterback on Monday night.
Yeah, I don't understand this Jalen Hurts thing. I understand because he's the backup.
Let's get into it. Go into it again.
So what people don't understand with this Jalen Hurts thing is, one, when Jalen Hurts gets in the game, he hasn't even looked to throw the ball. So clearly he's showing absolutely no promise whatsoever in the pass game, in practice, and whatever he's doing. So that's one thing. And then the second is Carson Wentz has looked really bad this year. So if Jalen Hurts was actually an option, I believe it would have been done already. It'd be done and over with. So that's another thing. And then what people don't understand, so let's say this is how the season's shaping up to me, truthfully. We're going to lose these next 4 games because we're playing 4 very good teams. The last 2 weeks of the season, Jalen Hurts is going to come in, and we're going to win one of those games. And it's going to go on with, wow, Jalen Hurts looked really good. The read option, that worked. Wow. Oh, my God, Jalen Hurts.
The RPO.
And Carson Wentz is on the first bus out of here, and I'm not an Eagles fan anymore. So that's how it's shaping up. But I just don't get this. Like, when Jalen Hurts is in the game, are people not watching what's going on? He fumbles 86% of the snaps he touches. Like, I don't understand the drive for this kid. This kid was a project pick. So what? The project is done after 11 weeks of sitting on the bench?
11 weeks of a short season with no real offseason, in which the rest of the team stinks.
I don't think these fans realize, one, he's not that good. We probably took him too early, and we took him. And if he wins games, like 11's gone. It's plain and simple. If Jalen Hurts somehow comes in, and Jalen Hurts is not a franchise quarterback, I don't think he is. Carson Wentz has mechanical issues, and then if you look at Jalen Hurts, the mechanical issues are a list way longer than Carson Wentz's mechanical issues.
They're the same things, dude. He goes through his reads and progressions too long. He holds on to the ball too long. Those were all issues in college with him.
That's why people don't understand what Jalen Hurts could possibly do here, and it's been very subpar.
All right, so me and you are on the same page. The bottom half of the screen is probably a little different. So let me just make my point, and then I'll throw it to George and Snap. George, I know what you're saying. You want to see if it's Doug. Who's right? Is it Doug? Is it Carson? But my issue with that is I won't be surprised if Doug caters the offense to Jalen Hurts' fit, and it looks better. Because he's not fitting it to Cart. Like you know what I'm saying? Like he would fit Jalen Hurts. So here's what I want to break down for everyone. A, I'll tell you why he shouldn't come in, and I'll tell you B, what happens if he does. So A, like Gin's point, he's not ready, guys. Like he's not allowed to throw the ball. He's thrown 1 or 2 passes, and if you watch the 2 passes, it's been drop back, slant, or drop back. Basically, Jalen, if your first read's wide open, deliver the ball. If not, get the hell out of the pocket and run. Okay. He's not allowed to run the ball. He's not allowed to throw the ball because he's not showing anything. He's a project pick. He has the same mechanical and flaws that Carson Wentz that he had coming out of college. Secondly, to the blind eye, it's easy and negative. I mean, and it's easy narrative and lazy narrative for this fan base to point the finger at 11 because the team doesn't look good. Guys, there are holes on every aspect of this football team. They are not a good football team. So to think that Jalen Hurts is going to come in and fix those issues, I'm sorry, you're a moron. Just set quarterback 2, issue. Linebackers, issue. Defensive line shows up or doesn't show up. Offensive line, issue. Receivers getting open and creating separation, issue. Running backs catching the ball out of the backfield. I love Miles Sanders. Miles Sanders has not been good catching the ball out of the backfield this year. Issue. And again, quarterback play has been issue. Play calling, issue. Scheme, issue. There's issues everywhere. So to think that a project pick second-round rookie is going to come in with no feel for this offense because he's not getting any throughout the offseason or anything is asinine. Now let me tell you what happens when you do that. Everyone talks about the benching of Donovan McNabb when he was awful against Baltimore Ravens years ago, and Kevin Cobb came in. And it kind of, just a wake-up call, right? There was no quarterback controversy in the city of Philadelphia in that season. There's a quarterback controversy right now in the city of Philadelphia that has been created by the Philadelphia Eagles organization. You made that pick. You just got the first controversy out of here, and you make a pick a year later to bring it back in. So that is 110% on them. But let me tell you why. The second Jalen Hurts comes in the game is the second Carson Wentz is no longer the quarterback of the Philadelphia Eagles. And I mean that. I mean, because you can say all you want. Oh, no, just sit him down as a wake-up call. That's fine. Well, let me tell you something. We see it all the time with rookie quarterbacks or quarterbacks that no one has any tape on, and they come in and light the world on fire and light the league on fire for a couple weeks, right? What happens if Jalen Hurts does that? You don't know that that's real. You don't know that that's the real Jalen. What if Jalen Hurts just comes in, they somehow beat Seattle on Monday night? Even if Jalen Hurts doesn't play well against Seattle, but the defense magically shows up and plays well against Russell Wilson, and we win the game 21 to 20. You think this fan base that hates Carson Wentz is going to want Carson Wentz back? No. You make the controversy way, way worse. The second you put in number 2 is the second number 11 is out of here, and I'm with Ginn. Is the second I'm out of here. Now, if he continues this for another weeks on weeks, and like I don't know, if I had a way to figure out it's not Doug, then I'd agree with you. But the franchise quarterback of this team should not be the first domino to fall. GM, play caller, head coach, one of those maybe should be the first domino to fall and bring in some help around this kid. Because let me say this. There are 2 components from 2017 season that's still here. One's gone. Frank Reich's gone. Doug Peterson and Carson Wentz are still here. Eagles won the Super Bowl, so it looks like Doug Peterson was a genius, right? Because he was the head coach, blah, blah, blah. But Carson Wentz was also the MVP of that league. So if that was really Doug's system and not Frank Reich's, and Doug Peterson is this offensive guru genius, why is Carson Wentz no longer a fit for Doug Peterson's system? It was Frank Reich's system. It was, and I'll remind you guys, was it or was it not Nick Foles that was struggling the first 2 or 3 weeks? He became the starter after Carson Wentz went down. You think Doug Peterson figured out that he needed to switch to the RPO and to switch his offense to cater to Nick Foles' strengths? Hell no. It was Frank Reich. And like Snap said earlier, Frank Reich is getting below average quarterback play or average quarterback play from an aging Phillip Rivers. And I know he has a great defense and a good run game and blah, blah, blah. They're 7-4. Okay? They're 7-4 and just put up over 30 points to beat the Green Bay Packers in overtime. It's not, look, I know it's easy to blame the quarterback. Not that simple.
Put Carson Wentz on the Colts. See what happens.
Right.
He's lighting the world.
He'd win MVP. He'd win MVP.
He's lighting the world on fire. Oh yeah, I don't think Jalen Hurts is good. I didn't think Jalen Hurts was good coming out of college. I didn't think Jalen Hurts was great in college. He finished top 3 for Heisman, but it was also the offense around him. You could see it in him that he's just not. He's not going to be a good quarterback from the start. Like maybe in 2 years he'll be a pretty good starter. You don't know, but he doesn't look like a franchise guy. And I don't know. I still don't really understand why people think that Jalen Hurts is going to come in and take over the team and be our franchise quarterback.
They don't. It's because they don't like Carson Wentz.
And I still don't know why people don't like Carson Wentz, which I guess I do because it's been a frustrating year. And it's very easy to blame the quarterback. Like it's the easiest thing to do. It's not Carson Wentz's fault this year. It really isn't. Has he been a big problem? Yeah, he has. Does he need to be better? Yeah, he does. Is this year and this shitty record his fault? No, it's not. Would bringing in Jalen Hurts cause 10 times more controversy than we have right now? Fuck yes. But I think if you bring in Jalen Hurts, he doesn't light the world on fire. He doesn't look that good. People can finally shut the fuck up, and we can see how Carson Wentz can respond. Say, let's fucking go. This is my team. This is not happening again.
But
let's get a kick in the ass. I know. Listen, I know. It's probably it's unrealistic that it'll work like that.
No, I would love for it to work like that. But the issue is Carson can want to do that all he wants. The second he comes back in, Doug's going to keep calling the shitty plays, like the shitty teams he's calling.
No, if I miss the hell out of Frank Reich. If Carson Wentz is on the Colts right now, holy shit, that team Super Bowl contending, looking good as fuck. Carson Wentz is lighting the world on fire. Like that's just how it would be. That's just how it would be. Because he's not
I want to break this down real quick. I've never seen a fan base turn on a franchise star player like this so quickly.
McNabb.
What? McNabb was here for years.
They crucified him. Eagles fans just like the crucify.
There's a reason
I loved McNabb. Before Carson, McNabb was the best quarterback the Eagles ever had, in my opinion.
I still think he is, but just because of work.
But let me break this down, right? Past rookie year. Sophomore year is MVP of the league. Has a major ACL injury. Comes back too early from the ACL injury. Why? Because everyone's beloved fanboy Nick Foles wasn't getting the job done as a starting quarterback. So he comes back too early. He overcompensates. Plays through a fractured back, mind you, for like 2 weeks. So clearly he's not going to play well. So he has a down year in the third year when he comes back too early. Nick Foles comes back in. They make the playoffs, so on and so forth. Last year, with garbage cans and lawn chairs as wide receivers, he puts up similar numbers, QBR, passing yards, everything like that, touchdown to interception ratio, everything like that, to his MVP year. No one sees it because the team overall wasn't as good as that year, but he put up similar numbers, leads those garbage cans to the postseason, right? This year, he has played well against San Fran. He played great against the Giants. He's the only reason they won that game. And he played his ass off against number 1, number 2 defenses, combining for 58 points. If it wasn't for the defense giving up over 30 plus in both of those games, they probably win those games. So that's 4 games I just named. We've played 10, guys. So in 6 games, 6 bad games, 6 underperforming games where he just wasn't good enough, he's done. Are you fucking kidding me? I'm sorry, but are you kidding me?
Not to mention, we also won, 2 of those games where he underperformed?
Yes. Yeah, we won. Yeah. So, like, I don't get it, man. It's because it's the narrative and it fits. And when he doesn't look good, he's got to go. And I
just want to make one more point. One more point because we got to move on from this.
Yeah, I didn't even.
If the Eagles won the games against Baltimore and Pittsburgh, in which Carson Wentz was more than good enough, beyond good enough, we would have been sitting at 5-2-1, and it would have been a totally different story, and Carson Wentz probably would have been beloved again. But since the defense lets up 936 points in back-to-back weeks, Carson Wentz gets the blame. This kid is – if I was him, I'd want to leave. He's just so mistreated.
Yeah.
But like you said, let's just move on.
All right, real quick. I need predictions. Win or loss on Monday night. I think we all know where we're going, but Snap, you start.
But, yeah. Going to the points, I think the main reason the fan base does want to see Jalen is kind of like what George said. You can kind of get a gauge on how bad the head coach is, because I feel like a lot of these fans do think Doug Peterson is the answer, and I'm at the point where I know it's not the answer. And also, I think people are just tired of seeing the play. You regardless if Carson's done good in certain games or not done good in certain games, people expect a level from him regardless of what's around him, because you've seen him be good his rookie year with a decent team. You saw last year him drag that injury-riddled team to the playoffs. So when you come into this season and he's leading the league in interceptions and he's having a terrible QBR, people just are tired of seeing Carson, man. That's just where it's at. Like, I think putting in Jalen is – is it the best move? No, but I think that's the main reason people are gunning for it. They're just tired of seeing what they're seeing. They want something fresh. Like George said, you can get a gauge on the coach, because then you can make it definitive if Jalen Hurts starts and he plays awful.
I don't think you can. You can't, because the head coach and the play caller will cater the offense to how Jalen Hurts plays, which he does not do for Carson Wentz.
But in that case, they're barely catering the offense to Wentz. So
that's my point.
Exactly. So if they cater the offense to Jalen Hurts and he's really not that good,
oh well, then yeah.
You're gonna see that it's not Jalen Hurts is the answer, and it's not Doug Peterson is this great coach that can turn any quarterback into a winner, because that's what people think. They think that Doug Peterson is this coach that can bring a Nick Foles in and get shit done when he switches up his quarterbacks. So why not see what you have? Why not prove that both of them suck and just move forward? Because if you're going to start Jalen Hurts and prove that he sucks or prove that Doug Peterson sucks right now, why not on this part of the schedule? We have 4 games that we all know we're not going to win. We know it. We're probably not going to win Sunday or Monday. We're not going to win the next 3 games. Put him against fucking really hard competition. Like, let's get like really fucking like scummy with the play here now and really just almost kill a reputation of a kid. Like, bring this kid in against some real talent and be like, well, see, Jalen didn't even play great against the Cardinals, but Carson almost beat the undefeated Pittsburgh Steelers. So what are we doing here? Boom. Controversy solved. Everyone's going to talk about that. Like, at this point, it's just fans are bored with it. They almost like, I feel like fans just don't want to watch football anymore. And the only thing that you can really just pick apart is Carson because of these turnovers, because of this QBR. And everyone, like, yes, the coach is to blame, but everyone's, like everyone said here, everyone's always going to come for the quarterback. The Eagles fans are notorious for it. They talked mad shit about McNabb after he made, 5 or 4 NFC championship games? Like, and they demanded he got replaced by what's his fucking name after he got benched? Who was that guy? I don't even remember the dude's name. Exactly. These are just how Eagles fans are.
Nick Foles, a
He
journeyman.
won the Super Bowl, man. Like, you're gonna expect it. You gotta just deal with it. Like, that's just how it's gonna be. Clearly, these fans don't have a say. They're not in management. Like, I just think you just need to. I think you just need to get a look at the kid. Also, the other reason is if you really want to make the argument and you think the coaching is the issue and you kind of do think Carson's the issue, you could say that they're not playing Jalen Hurts because they can't evaluate talent to save their life, which is honestly part of the discussion because they can't. They can't evaluate talent. They just started Mulata at left tackle after 2 weeks of watching Jason Peters get murdered. I could have made that call. I think a 6-year-old could have told you that guy should have started over Jason Peters. So that just adds to the thing. Like, yo, are they evaluating the talent right? Are they doing the right things? Like, does this dude even have a fucking clue? It's just a ton of narratives that you're putting in the hands of the fan base to believe that Carson's not good and to put Jalen Hurts in. Whether you think he's going to be bad or not, if you think he's going to be bad, you should want him to start just to see him fail and prove that he sucks and Doug sucks. Then you can be like, all right, it's not Carson. It's actually, honestly, probably like the best thing you could do if you really want to just get scummy with it and like take these guys out like in a really evil way.
I feel bad for you. All right, so loss. Birds are going to lose on Monday night.
They just held the Cardinals to 21 points, dude.
That's very true.
Like they've played. Cardinals have played 8 games and they've only put up less than 30 in 3 of them. So clearly the Seahawks did something good, and they're way better talented. You know they're not gonna. You know the Eagles aren't gonna run the ball either, so it's gonna be a loss.
Hold on, am I getting echo? I'm getting echo somewhere.
Echo.
Someone mute themselves real quick, and then unmute. Are we good now? What the?
I don't hear an echo.
All right, how about now?
You're good.
All right, so let's move on. The Sixers had a big I'm hearing echo again. Are you guys hearing it or no?
No.
Maybe it's just me.
I hear it.
I hear like a slight one.
All right, so Sixers had a big week last week. NBA draft was last Wednesday night. They also made some trade moves, signed a veteran center. So we're going to break down all the moves in order, grade them. Everyone's going to give a grade, and then we're going to look at the revamped Sixers roster with their coaching staff. So the first is we broke the news live on the Phaithful Phanatics show last Wednesday, but it was really fresh. Like now that it's sunk in, let's talk about it. Daryl Morey comes in, gets rid of that horrible, horrible contract of Al Horford's, and ships him a second rounder in last Wednesday's draft and a future 2025 top 6 protected first rounder for Danny Green. So how do we feel?
Terrence Ferguson too.
And Terrence Ferguson, my bad. Forgot about that part. So how do we feel about that move? Again, I'll throw it to you first. You've been a little quiet lately. How would you grade the move? And how does the guy fit? So how does Danny Green and Terrence Ferguson fit on the Sixers?
Yeah, I'm gonna grade the move an A. At first, I was skeptical of what was going on. I had like a big Zach LaVine push on draft night, so I thought Horford would probably have to be involved. So at first, I was like, darn. And then I thought 21 was the pick that was going to be given, so that was another. But now that it's over, I mean, Danny Green fits everything we want, in my opinion. He can guard guards. He can shoot the ball. He's a career 40% shooter from 3. And then Terrence Ferguson, I don't see him getting a lot of time. I think it will come down if he can make shots or not because he can defend. But if he can't make shots, he probably won't be able to play. But overall, that move gets me an A. That contract I thought was stuck here, but Daryl Morey figured it out, and he got a player that's won 2 championships in a row and can play next to Ben Simmons.
Snap, how would you grade the Al Horford?
A+. I mean, even when I saw the deal, I as soon as I saw it, I almost assumed there was no 21st pick involved. I really didn't expect that because I know I had faith in Daryl Morey. I knew he was smart enough to not do that, but I also knew that picks were going to be involved because you have to give value to salary cap dump. So when I seen the move, I was ecstatic. At it, like, yes, we wanted Buddy Hield. Yes, we wanted Zach LaVine. We thought Al Horford would be a part of a deal like that. But when I saw Danny Green in the deal, I mean, I lost my mind. Regardless if he had a regression or not last year, dude's back-to-back champion. He's got playoff experience. He's a great vet to have around young guys like Shake Milton, Matisse Thybulle, Tyrese Maxey, and all these other young guys. Even Ben and Joel, he's just a good guy to have around there to play basketball the right way. He's played a part of great teams with great players. He's played with LeBron James. He's played with Kawhi Leonard. He was a part of the Spurs system for years. It's a guy that just knows how to play the game, and he gives you what you need, defense and hit open shots.
Sure.
Yeah, it's an A+. I mean, what do we expect the deal to be when you're getting rid of a contract like that? Like, if we're getting Danny Green, granted, he's not the player he was 2 years ago when he was making like 40% from 3, but he's still a great defender and he's still a good role player. They have. You got Ferguson, who's another guy you could use possibly. He's a good defender. And you're getting rid of that Horford contract. Like, that was the biggest thing. Get him off your fucking team. And he's off the team. You're trading a 2025 first-round pick, which could be like nothing. It could be in the 20s. Yeah, like, come on. Like, Daryl Morey has done more with this team in 2 weeks than they've had in fucking 3-4 years. Like, that was an amazing deal. That was an amazing deal, and that's it. It's an A. Like, getting that off the books is incredible for this organization.
Yeah.
For Danny Green, whose contract expires after this season.
So,
yeah, exactly. He's getting paid, what, 15, 14 million?
17, yeah.
17.
Yeah, and then he's gone. And then that's all you need. That's it, and he's out of here.
So if there was a number or letter higher than A+, I'd give it higher than that because I'm with Gant. Like, on draft, when it broke, I was like, I had the Zach LaVine or Buddy Hield trade in mind, and when Snap got to 4 Danny Green, I was just like, what? And then I had to get that it wasn't the 21st pick. So once, and then you let it sit in. So George alluded to it more. Just getting that awful, dreadful contract off your books and Al Horford the hell out of the city along with his sister, who is awful on Twitter.
Oh my God.
Was an A+ enough. Then you bring in a guy like Danny Green, who's a 3-and-D player, who's going to bring spacing to the floor next to Ben Simmons and Joel. And I want to pull this comment up. It was an A trade, but Green is no longer a dependable guy for 3-and-D. I disagree. Everyone has the bubble Danny Green, the NBA final, like the finals Danny Green that missed that shot to seal the series. Everyone has that guy in mind. Is he going to piss us off because he's a streaky shooter later in his career? Yeah. I'm sure he's going to have nights where he's 0 for 8, another night he's 1 for 9, like 1 for 7. Like, I'm sure those nights are going to be there. But he can still play defense at a high level in this league. He's not as old as everyone thinks. Not to mention, like, everyone only talks about his three-point shooting in LA. Didn't he shoot close to 40% last year?
36.
Okay, 36. And 2 years ago, he shot 45%, right?
What a role player struggled next to LeBron James. Who would have thought that?
So 45% in Toronto 2 years ago. He's coming off back-to-back championships. So, and again, maybe he just didn't fit in LA. Like, maybe he just needed a change of scenery.
Yeah, absolutely. Dude, LeBron James-driven teams, the second and third best player have career years. Everyone else struggles. It's been a method to his madness since he's been in the league.
So, yeah, it's an A+ trade, not to mention the picks you gave up. You gave up a second rounder when you had 4 of them last Wednesday.
Isn't it 5?
Was it 5?
No, we had 4.
4.
We had 5 total.
Yeah. And then a 2025 protected for not that the protection means anything. It's going to be shipped out unless we absolutely like Joel and Ben are no longer Sixers. And
that would be Ben's last year, and Joel, if he had left, would have already left. So even if we do suck with Ben still there, we would still, and we're that bad, it would still protect it. So just in case we suck that bad.
Yeah. So I just think everyone has that mindset of Danny Green struggling in the bubble, and it's just not the case. I think it's a great move.
He's not the same player.
No, he's not the same player.
But like we said, it's a vet you want to have. There's no downside to having him.
Especially just like getting rid of that like literally horrendous fucking contract and that horrendous fit with Al Horford, and you're getting back Danny Green. Like I would take that 10 out of 10 times of the week. Especially how like we were not the deepest bench. Like we really weren't. We needed role players. We needed guys like that. Getting Danny Green is huge for us.
Yeah.
He's the good guy.
Again, talk to me about Tyrese Maxey, because he is the next move on last Wednesday, and he falls to the Sixers at 21. Talk to me about the kid out of Kentucky.
Dude, I can't believe we drafted Tyrese Maxey. I mean, it's still a week ago, and I'm still amazed. When I was like, I'm a big college basketball guy and the NBA draft and everything, so I wouldn't even have thought Tyrese Maxey was an option. One, because I thought Boston would snatch him up the second that they could. But, dude, this kid is an all-defensive type NBA player probably in 2 or 3 years. He says he's shooting the ball a lot better. But at Kentucky, dude, they had 3 guys that were really ball dominant. So they were basically just trying to create for themselves a lot. And he was taking a lot of tough shots. He won't have to take many tough shots here. He's going to get good shots. Do I think he'll play a lot year one? Most likely not, especially if we make a move to get another guard. But if he does, this kid in this draft, John Calipari said it best. In this draft, you're going to look back, and I think if they redraft this draft, Tyrese Maxey will be a top 8 pick in the draft. This kid is legit as it gets. And like I said, defensive-wise, if you watch any Kentucky games last year, he's picking up his man full court 75% of the time. If not, he's picking him up 3/4 court. This kid's a dog.
Coach Cal had a lot of good things to say about him after the pick.
Yeah, he didn't like that he fell. He didn't like that at all.
He didn't like that Miami skipped him either.
Yeah. All right, Snap, you had a big grin on your face. Tyrese Maxey, talk to me.
When we were talking about the NBA draft the last couple weeks,
I didn't
even mention the kid because I really didn't think he was going to be there. It was Tyrell Terry, Desmond Bane, and Cole Anthony. And for whatever reason, Tyrese Maxey falls to us, and the kid is an absolute bucket. Like, he just knows how to score the ball. It is a scoring guard, which you have wanted on this team for probably the last 3 years. The kid knows how to penetrate. The kid can shoot. I don't care that it says 27.5% from 3 last year. You know the kid's got great form. If you've been following him since high school, you know he can shoot the ball. He's also said he's been shooting about 600 to 800 shots a day just working. I'd love to hear that from a rookie. He's a Kentucky guy, and we've all seen in the last couple of years, when you draft a Kentucky guy, you're getting an NBA player just about 80% of the time. I mean, when's the last time there was a bust from Kentucky that was in the first round? And the other big thing people aren't talking about is this kid thrives in the open court. He thrives in the open court. He loves to run the ball. When he grabs a rebound, he gets it and goes, and you can see that in Kentucky. So I think he's going to be perfect fit next to Ben. He reminds me almost of like a Lou Williams type, where you can just plug him in off the bench and he's going to score a lot of points. But unlike Lou Williams, like Gint said, the kid has got a great defensive motor, and he has everything to be a good defender in this league. I just think this was just such great value for 21. It couldn't have worked out better. I think, yes, you're not going to see him start immediately or like get a lot of minutes early on. But as this kid develops next to these guys, this is who you want to have on the books at a cheap deal for the next 4 or 5 years.
George.
Yeah, like when we were talking about who we realistically wanted at 21, I mentioned Bane, I mentioned Terry, and then I threw in there, if somehow in some crazy world that he drops to us, I would love Tyrese Maxey. Somehow in this crazy fucking draft, he fell right into our laps. And just like Ginn said, he is a pesky on-ball defender. Like he's absolutely insane. Look at the stat, 0.26 points per possession allowed in one-on-one situations. That's 97th percentile in all of NCAA basketball. He averaged 14, 4, and 3 last year at Kentucky. He shot 29.2% from three, but like Ginn said, I don't see that happening in the NBA at all. It's going to be a lot different situation. He's also said he's been in the gym all the time, and all he's doing is shooting. He needs to learn how to shoot. That's what he wants to do. This kid's going to be really, really good for us. He should not have been a 21st overall pick.
Another thing with Maxey is, I mean, we see the light of a trade happening eventually to try to acquire somebody that's a star. And let's say we were to draft Terry, that's not even in the same realm of value, in my opinion, between Maxey and Terry.
No.
If you have to move him one day, this kid is probably a bigger asset than honestly everyone on the roster besides Ben, Joel, and until he proves something, probably Matisse. But this kid is – we scored really.
Huge asset.
It was a steal. Like
you guys hit on everything already. The only thing I can add is that a lot of people believed it was just a down year shooting wise, especially from deep from him.
It was.
From him in Kentucky. And also a lot of things I've heard, I think Doc Rivers actually alluded to it, I think. Was that he shoots well from the free throw line. And if you shoot well from the free throw line, what do you have? Good mechanics. So they can work with that, and his 3-point percentage and field goal percentage will go back up. So, yeah, again, it's an A-plus pick. And, again, having Daryl Morey up there, whether he's the one making the calls or he's in Elton's ear or whatever the case is, you didn't overthink the pick. I was waiting just the Philadelphia in me for him to fall and the Sixers to just overthink it and not go there. Daryl Morey's in the building. That ain't happening. And Snap, you said it. Give me the Kentucky dude, man. Like when the NFL draft was around,
30 first-round picks in 11 seasons.
I still like the Jalen Reagor pick, like talking like draft wise. But like obviously, what you see Justin Jefferson doing, like I wanted the kid out of LSU. That's what I wanted, not the kid out of TCU. I wanted the kid out of LSU. Give me the kid out of Kentucky.
The other thing mentioning about his 3-point shooting, if you watched him all year, even if he shot a bad percentage, he had some big shots from deep. There was the one, I forget which team it was. He hit like the go-ahead 3 to win the game at the buzzer, basically. Like the kid is not scared. That's like the best part about him. Like he's not scared to just go in there like, oh, you need a bucket? All right, coach. I got it. I'll go get it.
And
he just seems like a cool person.
He was probably the pick and roll guard in the draft.
Yep.
Probably LaMelo Ball, but
what you gonna want on this team?
Yeah.
All
right. So moving on, maybe the biggest addition so far of the offseason, in my opinion, Daryl Morey strikes again. Again, it's not the move you were waiting for. There were no rumors of it. Nothing. He sends Josh Richardson to Dallas in return for Seth Curry, second all time in NBA history in 3-point percentage. He shot it better than Steph over, I believe, the last 3 or 4 seasons from 3. So Daryl Morey did one thing when he came into this job. He looked at this roster and said, "Oh, he's been saying what he thought what we've all been saying. What does this team need? Oh, 3-point shooting and spacing around these 2 cornerstones. What does he do the first night? Danny Green and one of the best to ever stroke it from deep, Seth Curry. So again, talk to me about the trade. Seth Curry, you lose Jay Rich, but you bring in a much, much, much astronomically better 3-point shooter in Seth Curry, who he put out there's a video released today, and his handle looks
he's working.
His handle looks okay to me.
Yeah, so, I mean, the move made a lot of sense. I like Jay Rich a lot. It just sucks his fit was so weird here. I think Jay Rich can be really good in Dallas also.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, the move makes total sense. Like you said, Seth Curry, percentage wise, I mean, Dallas was a big league pass team for me. So every time Seth Curry shoots it, you don't even have a doubt that it's going to go in, and that's something we just need. Like we need something reliable, not a guy that's streaky. And we finally have a guy that, like I said, you just shoot it and you're like, wow, that's going to go in. There's no way that doesn't go in. He's a set shooter, obviously, which is going to be awesome because we have 2 of the best playmaking players in the NBA. I believe Joel can figure out how to navigate through a double team. But he's going to get so many open shots, and this move just made total sense. And I think he'll come off the bench, which is where he really has played his whole career, which I think that'll make him feel really comfortable. He's also needs to be hidden on defense, which is another thing that playing next to Ben helps with because Ben is a top 5 player on defense in the entire NBA.
Probably number
So
one.
I love the move. I that was probably my favorite move so far, besides drafting Tyrese Maxey, actually. So I'll give it an A.
Snap.
This was my number one move of draft night. And here's why. One, yes, is Jay Rich a better player than Seth Curry? Yes. Overall, Josh Richardson's a better basketball player than Seth Curry. Defensively, both ways, yes, he is. But at this point, you're not going for better players. You're going for better fits. These guys are supporting cast. You're not putting an all-star team together. Like, you need the best fit. That's what basketball is. Seth Curry shot 48% on catch-and-shoot threes last year. He's led the league in it the last 2 years. And big part of that is because he was playing with Luka, who was second in the league in assisted three-pointers. You know who was first? Ben Simmons. So you have Ben Simmons playing with a guy who literally almost 1 out of 2 times he shoots the ball is going to hit a three if it's catch and shoot. So you added a guy that is going to create so much space. His deficiency on defense is going to be covered up by Ben and Matisse. And you could make that move even though Josh Richardson's a better defender, because you have a guy like Matisse. They don't have to worry about keeping Josh Richardson to be a defensive perimeter player because you have a young defensive perimeter player on your team now. So now Seth Curry doesn't have to worry about defense. All he's got to do is be running off screens, catch and shoot, sit in that corner, do your thing. It's absolutely perfect. We haven't had a shooter like this since J.J. Redick. And I'll say this, J.J. Redick had one advantage over Seth Curry, and that's dribbling the ball coming off a screen and shooting. But even then, that's not as efficient. Like, so you got a more efficient shooter than you've ever had next to a guy like Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid. I think the move was phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. And he's on a good deal. I think he's here for another 2 years.
Yeah,
this season, next season.
I think.
Yeah. So now if you're doing math, the Al Horford deal even looks smarter because now you've basically turned Al Horford into Danny Green, Seth Curry, Terrence Ferguson, and Tyrese Maxey. You cleared the cap space based off that trade alone, which is absolutely insane. Seth Curry move was an absolute A+. I think he's going to be a fan favorite. And, I mean, what else can I say? Daryl Morey. Daryl Morey's awesome, dude. It's just so cool to have a GM. Like a real GM. It's just so fun.
George, talk to me about the better of the Curry brothers.
No, that move came out of nowhere, and it was absolutely the correct deal to make. I mean, it sucks that Jay Rich couldn't fit here. He's a good player. He was good in Miami. We saw that. Like, he's probably going to be very good in Dallas. But when you have a chance to get a guy that shoots 45% from three paired next to a guy that leads the league in three-point assists, you're doing it 10 out of 10 times. Like, that Curry deal is probably my favorite thing of the draft. It's going to be it's what we needed. We need shooting. We need three-point shooting, and we got it with Seth Curry. He's consistent. He's reliable. He doesn't miss open shots very often at all. It's going to be perfect for this team, and that was the biggest surprise for me. Like, I did not see that coming. You look at your phone, and it's like Sixers are trading for Seth Curry, and it was like, what the fuck is happening?
That was the first thing I woke up to because I fell asleep before part of the draft.
Like, shout out Daryl Morey. Like, he's been nothing but incredible. This, like,
beautiful human being.
Everything that has been going on with the Birds and the Phillies not re-signing JT,
and just 2020 as a whole.
And and then all of a sudden Daryl Morey comes in and he blesses all of our fucking lives. Like, I'm so excited about the NBA season. I'm so excited to watch some basketball. It's going to be incredible this year.
Another note is
a new look Sixers. It's a new era. This is going to be a fun year.
Another note you can add in there is, since a lot of people were high on like Tyrell Terry, who I made the NBA comparison to Seth Curry leading up to the draft, he was like right around, what did he go, 32nd or 31st, right? 31. So you were sitting there with 36, and like, you know, you could have probably maybe packaged some picks to go get him. But instead, you went and got a solidified shooter. You're not relying on a rookie here now. Like, this guy is going to come in and absolutely torch it. Like, it's just awesome, man.
I can't wait. It's definitely, again, A++++, whatever I can put next to it. Again, spacing and three-point shooting was the one thing with these two cornerstone pieces you needed. And again, you know, you talked about Ginner Snap talked about hiding him on defense, which you can do. Like I feel like even like when you had JJ here, who was like Snap said was the last big 3-point shooter we've had. He's not as efficient, but JJ couldn't play like a defense either.
Yeah.
And you thought
that is a better defender as is. JJ's like non-existent. That ain't great, but like.
And again, dude, and again, I know I might be getting reeled in like I do with the Ben social media post, but that video of Seth of S. Dot,
what? But he put the ball behind his back.
Why his handles look clean?
No, yeah, don't give it, dude. I mean, I think another thing we're really alluding to is we have a player that if a guy goes under a screen, he's going to shoot a 3-pointer. And it's going to go in, which is like a really cool.
Who would have thunk?
And unlike JJ, like he's definitely a better ball handler.
Yeah, he's a
like,
combo
he
guard.
definitely create better than JJ ever even dreamed of doing. Yeah, so like even if he does fail in that area where like maybe a guy does have a closeout fast on him about an attempted 3, unlike JJ, who would probably still lob it up anyway, Seth might create something off that. Seth can get to the basket. Seth can do more than JJ offensively.
All right, let's move on to the 2 second-round picks. We'll bunch them together. They draft Isaiah Joe, and then Paul Reed was the last pick of the night for the 76ers. And there's even talk Paul Reed it's looking like he's going to make this roster. So we'll see. Isaiah Joe, pure shooter. Paul Reed's more of a stretch, 4 or 5. So talk to me again about the 2 second-rounders.
I'm not going to go into like big detail on them. I was not a fan of Isaiah Joe. At 34, 49, we got him. So that's good value in terms of where you were probably going to take him, because apparently we promised him. But the kid's a chucker. He shoots a lot. But, I mean, hey, if you can make shots, you can play on this roster. Paul Reed is going to be a G League guy. He's from DePaul.
I agree with you. I'm just saying from what I've like.
No, don't get me wrong. And apparently he's been saying all the right things in these press conferences and stuff. But
are you reading the comments right now? I'm sorry. Someone said he was KG.
Oh yeah. we have a Siakam comp and a young.
Yeah, they couldn't be more wrong. Villanova used to make Paul Reed look just silly often.
The Villanova plug.
Don't get me wrong. Isaiah Joe, I love the value for it. We got him, like I said. We were going to take him at 34, apparently. So I'm okay with that pick. Paul Reed's going to be G Leaguer. There's not much to talk about. A second-round pick.
Snap?
I love both picks for where you got him at. One, I thought Isaiah Joe was going to go – Isaiah Joe could have gone earliest at the end of the first round. So the fact that you grabbed him at maybe I wasn't like high on him going there. Like I didn't want him at 21. I got scared when they said they promised him. Yeah. But the fact that you got him at 49 is incredible. So with Isaiah Joe, he like Gin said, he's a chucker. But that's what you need. Like if you have an injury on this team and you need a guy to come in and play some minutes off the bench, like an Isaiah Joe, he's a chucker. And not only that, I don't think he's that bad of a defender. He's got some good size to him. He's kind of got like what you want in a wing player. He's got some length to him. I think, what did he shoot in his first year? 40-something? And then he dropped down to like 38.
Yeah, he was like 44 in his first year, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, so you got a guy who you can develop. That the one part that you don't need to develop about him is shooting, which is great to hear, because after all these draft picks and players we've had in the last couple of years, that's the one thing I don't need developed again is shooting. So you have a guy who you can develop and play next to these guys on a cheap contract. If he does turn into a decent role player, now you have a bona fide shooter on a cheap deal for the next couple of years. I love the pick. I gave him kind of like, if he can become a decent defender, like a smaller Rocco kind of player, which I know a lot of people aren't high on Rocco, but I like Rocco, and I already think Isaiah Joe is a more consistent shooter.
Yeah, I would just throw him in the G League for a couple of years.
No doubt. If there's an injury, call him up. Like if Seth goes down, or like someone that you like, if Shake or Seth goes down, or Danny goes down, definitely bring him up to fill in that void of shooting. Like, because again, like the kid isn't gonna be. He's smaller. He's got a small frame. That's the issue with a lot of college kids. But once he starts to put on weight, and if he develops other aspects of his game, you have a shooter to develop. That like I can't emphasize that point. It's a shooter that you get to develop on a cheap contract.
George.
I like the Isaiah Joe pick because it was like quote unquote the guy they wanted, the guy they promised. They got him late, a lot later than they thought they would get him. He's a shooter. He shot 89% from the line. He averaged 17, 4 and 2 his last season at Arkansas. His catch and shoot is good. He probably needs to add a little more muscle, but he's he's a I guess kind of a project guy. Like we'll see what happens with him. I think it's good value where we got him, especially because you need a shooter. You need shooters. You wanted him at 34. You got him a lot later than 34, and mechanically he's fine shooting. So there's not really much to talk about. I think the Reed pick was okay too. I mean, he's going to be in the G League. Fine. The fine picks. I'll take Isaiah Joe.
To me, they're great value picks.
Yeah, especially because we wanted
Isaiah.
Paul Reed was a great value pick. He didn't shoot the hell out of the ball, but he still hit it at a decent number. I think his last season he averaged 6 makes a game, but they were on, I want to say it's 6 makes a game, but on 1.8 attempts a game. So he shot 30%. Yeah. So I mean, if you're gonna eventually develop him to be anything, he's gonna be a stretch 4. Which if you have to develop someone that's a need for the future, it's a stretch 4. So that's awesome.
He shot also. He shot 36.7. He shot 36.7% last year.
Oh, I thought he shot 30. I thought the year before that he shot 40 though.
All right, let's move on to the last move so far. The last important big move. It wasn't on draft night. It came 2 days later. I believe it came on Friday night. The Sixers, after a confusion or a mix-up with Lakers Nation, signed Dwight Howard to a 1-year deal. I believe it's also a vet minimum, isn't it?
It is.
Which is insane to me.
Crazy.
After he said he wanted a payday.
Yeah.
Free last year.
Dwight Howard comes here, which to me is the second thing. And then I'll throw it to you guys. Spacing and shooting were the 1-2, 3-point shooting and spacing around Joel and Ben. And then the other thing to me, always haunted me, was the Toronto series, a backup center that can come in and just be can just defend the rim and defend.
Not Greg Monroe.
Yeah, like they remember the plus minus when Joel wasn't on the floor, that Toronto series. Like if you have a serviceable backup at all, you win that series. You bring in Dwight Howard, who's a lob threat on offense, and then is going to just provide defense and rim protection and rebounding with his big ass frame and body, and just kick it out for the fast-paced offense that Ben's going to want to run. So I love it. Again, A from me, from Daryl Morey, especially on a vet minimum. Like this dude's getting good pieces that fit your roster at great value.
Yeah, I totally agree. This move came out of nowhere, but I love it. Dwight Howard, I think, was one of those underrated players in the NBA last year. There was a stat. I think it's 21% of the rebounds that are available when he's on the court, he gets. So his per 36 is like 14.7 rebounds per game. I love it. I think he still has something to prove. I don't think he likes the narrative that he was carried to a championship, because he was a prime contributor on that team last year. He was awesome. And the energy he's bringing, it reminds me a lot of like Norvell Pell when he's just jumping up and down on the bench. But yeah, I'm very excited for that move because, like you said, just watching these backup centers that we've brought in it's been dreadful. Boban was unplayable. Greg Monroe was god awful. So I'm ready. I love the Dwight Howard move. I'll give it a A, I guess. I don't see how you can't. In terms of the names that were out there, they were talking about freaking bringing Dario back. I almost threw up.
I would have loved that. I just love Dario as a person and everything.
All right,
but
Dario got paid too.
Yeah, he did.
He did. I give it an A. I wanted to lean B, but like now that I'm thinking about it, it's an A. So you were sitting here, it almost seemed like you were for sure signing Nerlens Noel, who probably would have demanded a little more money. Dwight Howard said he wanted to get paid, so it was never even on the radar, because if you're going to pay someone money for the backup center role, you were probably going to go Nerlens anyway. But the fact that you got Dwight Howard on a veteran minimum after coming off winning a championship where he proved he's still a player in this league after jumping around from bad team to bad team is probably the one of the most underrated moves this offseason. You can honestly sit here and say that the Lakers, one of the big reasons they won a chip last year was because of Rondo and Dwight Howard. If you're not looking at the obvious reasons of like LeBron CP or KCP and Anthony Davis, but it's just a perfect fit because like he does the things that Embiid doesn't do on offense, which is like run to the rim, dive down, work off pick and rolls like really, really efficiently. Like, you know, like a Clint Capella type. Like you can hit him in that pick and roll and he's diving to the rim. He cleans up the glass. He was super efficient last year. Coming off the bench, he's perfect. And a lot of people think that Howard is like bad because of like his mindset, because you know he always had this reputation that like he's too goofy,
he seemed mature in that interview.
Not only did he seem more mature, but like you want to have fun playing ball. Like your biggest star literally just said he was sad and didn't have fun this season ever since Jimmy left. Why not bring a goofy old smart vet that is proven in the league on a cheap deal to be right next to Embiid to like play against him every day? They're going to be talking shit, having a blast every day in practice. You're going to see a smiling Joel Embiid because you got this funny guy that's going to challenge him that's going to challenge him when they play against each other in practice.
Also a dominant big in his prime gets to work with maybe the most dominant big in the game right now.
Exactly. There's so much knowledge that can be passed from one another. Like people forget, like back when Howard and Shaq had beef, like one of the reasons hold
on. Great comment, not to cut you off.
All right, let me say this with that comment.
Beef's been working.
You've seen Joel Embiid, what he's doing now, right?
Yeah, he's been working out every day.
He's been playing tennis. He's been playing soccer. He's been fucking running everywhere. It looks like and what he said, he was like, I need to be in shape this year. He's like, I need to be Embiid from 2 years ago. It's good.
I'm not worried about him. I know these guys work. People just like to put these narratives on him. But like with Howard and Shaq back in the day, Shaq would always attack Howard, and Howard always said he just wanted an old player to teach him the way of like being dominant and winning. So you know Howard is immediately gonna see Embiid like he did with Shaq and like just want to teach him as much as he can, pass knowledge to him. This is a guy that was a 4-time defensive player of the year. And Embiid should have won defensive player of the year probably 2 years ago. And he had a decent defensive season last year, but not what we're used to. So yeah, this is a great move from having a vet next to Embiid, a serviceable backup, and being cheap. Going back to the Al Horford deal. You were about to end up paying a backup $27.5 million this year. Now you're paying one for 2.6, and he's probably going to be a better fit.
Much better.
You know what? Fuck the A. A+. There's not a bad move that they've made yet.
George.
It's an A. I mean, what did you need? You needed a competent backup for Joel Embiid, right? You got a veteran also along the fact that is going to help him and is going to make him be better as a whole player. And you got him for the vet minimum when you could have been signing, who knows, Nerlens Noel for whatever money.
Nerlens Noel, bum ass.
Dario Saric for $27 million over 3 years. Like instead,
Sixers out of my mind.
Yeah, like get the fuck out of here. Getting Dwight Howard was incredible, and it's funny because he's saying, Lakers Nation, I'm staying. Like
that was the best part about it.
And then Morey's like, hey buddy, what's up? Let's go. And
they signed Montrezl Harrell in that time span too.
Vet minimum, a competent backup for Embiid, a good serviceable backup for Embiid, someone that's going to teach him, someone that's going to show him the way, someone that was the most dominant big man in back in the day. Like this is a Hall of Famer we're looking at. Like this is an incredible move by Daryl Morey. Nobody expected it because who the hell is going to expect this?
Right.
Absolutely perfect. It has to be an A. Shout out to Daryl Morey for everything he's done.
So you bring in Danny Green, who's just won back-to-back chips. You just brought in Dwight Howard, who just won a chip with Danny Green. So you're bringing some sort of, winning mindset to this locker room, even though they're not the main players on those championship teams. But
you brought vets that just know how to play. Like everyone that was brought into this team either fits or is a veteran that was at one point extremely good or was a winning player. Danny Green played with Popovich and LeBron James. Dwight Howard played with LeBron James and was an incredible defensive-minded player. He won 4 Defensive Player of the Years. Like, I don't give a fuck how old he is. Like that's just something you don't pass on for this cheap. And now you have cap room. Like, again, diving back to the Al Horford trade, you turned Al Horford's contract into Seth Curry, Danny Green, Terrence Ferguson, and Dwight Howard. They all fit in the same amount of money that you were paying Al Horford. That's amazing. Amazing.
Yeah. Still, we're not going to touch on the Zaire Smith trade, right?
I mean, what are you going to
That one didn't make the cut.
Yeah, what are you going to talk about?
We traded Mikal Bridges for Tony Bradley.
Nice. You guys want to? Do you think there's anything else the Sixers need to cover this offseason?
I think they're going to wait. Morey doesn't want to – I don't think he wants to go out and use – they have like a partial mid-level exception that they can use. I don't think they're going to use it because I don't think he wants to rush into things. Mm-hmm. And I wouldn't be surprised if he wants Maxey to play more than people think at the beginning of the season. Like you can go out and get like a George Hill if he made a trade or someone like that, but I don't think there's a reason to. I love the roster we have right now. I like, and I think it will be like a deadline type thing if we acquire somebody.
Yeah,
I think the only need now is just backup point guard.
Yeah, a guard.
I get it. Shake's here. Shake's good, but Shake is. I just still, in my mind, I see Shake as a combo and a 2. I understand he is he's labeled as a point, but I think Shake would thrive more as a 2 than a 1.
Yeah, I think Shake's going to play a lot next to Ben this year. I don't think they'll have him have the keys to the offense a lot.
Yep. You guys want to predict starting 5?
Yeah, why not? I'll go. Ben, we're not going position, right? We're just going 5.
Just name 5.
Ben, Joel, Toby are the clear-cut 3, obviously. I'm going to go Danny because I think Seth's the one coming off the bench. Dude, I've heard a lot of things that Doc's high on Shake behind closed doors.
Really, really high, apparently.
Like, does that mean Ben is playing at the top point forward? I'm going to go Shake because I don't think he's going to start Tease.
Yeah, mine's the exact same 5. The guy Jason Blevins and Krell, they both said that they've only heard that Doc loves Shake and that Shake will be a starter, which I also love the second unit of Tyrese Maxey, Seth Curry, and Matisse Thybulle as your 1, 2, and 3. That hides Seth very, very well between 2 guys that can play on the ball in terms of defense. So, yeah, my starting 5 is the same that Dylan said.
I agree with the starting 5. Would that be my starting 5? No, I'd probably go Ben, Danny, Matisse, Toby, Joel. At first, I did want Seth to start, but now sitting back, I like him at the 6-man role because even though if he's coming off the bench, I do see him getting the same amount of minutes as a Shake.
He'll probably finish every game.
Yeah, I don't it'll be like the classic 6-man situation where you're coming off the bench for instant offense, but you're finishing games and you're probably going to have the same amount of minutes as the guy that's starting above you. But I wouldn't be surprised if by the end of the season you could see a switch up, or even through the season, a couple switch ups. I could see them eventually getting to Seth and Matisse in the starting lineup after if Danny doesn't perform as well as he needs to on the starting lineup. And if Matisse comes out this offseason as a shooter, a consistent shooter, hitting 35 or more, or hitting close to 38 or almost 40 from 3, which I'm not expecting it, but if it does happen, there's no reason he shouldn't start, in my opinion. And I think that would just be better because you want a young guy like that to slowly build into a starting role on this team, especially if he's going to be a young player here for the next couple of years. So my lineup is the same as yours, but I don't expect it to be that way the rest of the year.
Yeah. George.
Yeah, I agree with you guys. And I think Curry's going to be an amazing addition off the bench. I think he performs better when he's off the bench. We saw that in Dallas. It would be amazing if Matisse could come out and be just a perfect 3-and-D for us. Snap, that would be fucking.
Yeah, incredible. It would almost be he has to be like Mikal Bridges.
Yeah,
he has the ability.
No, but yeah, I agree with you guys. I agree. I think Steph's going to be, or Seth. Shit, it could pretty much Steph. I mean, come on, he's better, but yeah. It's gonna be awesome. Him off the bench as a 6-man is gonna be great. And if Matisse does have a lot better 3-point shot than last year, and with his defense, that would be fucking incredible. So, yeah, I agree. I'm excited, very excited.
All right, well,
longest pod ever, boys.
We need for Gint, Snap, George. George, longest pod in Phaithful Fanatics history. Thanks everyone who stuck through for the entire thing. We hope you enjoyed it. And have a good weekend.